This is Environmental Science 2, Chapter 10, Part 1 on biodiversity. In this portion of the video lecture, we will be taking a look at risks to biodiversity. Basically, what biodiversity is the different variety of species on Earth. At present, about 8.7 million species have been identified. That goes from the tiniest of bacteria all the way up to the largest mammals that we have on the planet. But scientists predict that there could be up to 13 plus million total. There are still efforts in the biological community to discover new organisms and classify them as well. The biome with the most biodiversity, areas of the most risk, are the tropical rainforest. If you remember from our biomes chat in Chapter 4, the tropical rainforest has many specialist organisms that are exclusive to the tropical rainforest, and they are reliant on one or two resources, and if those resources go bye-bye, so does the organism. So the tropical rainforest has the highest level of biodiversity on Earth. Some reasons that our biodiversity is shrinking. The human population, we continue to grow, of course, and little by little we are changing the environment. Even things that we are doing today may change the environment 20, 30, 40 years from now. We have caused several extinctions in the last century, both the 20th century and really the 19th century. The dodo bird that you see on the screen there on the far left, that was hunted to extinction in the mid-1700s. The passenger pigeon is the bird that's in the middle there. That was used during the World Wars for communication across the front lines. The passenger pigeon is now extinct as well. And then the cat that you see on the far left there is the thylacine. It is an Australian marsupial, which is now also extinct. We change the environment by destroying habitats. We deplete resources, we take habitats over, or in some cases, and we'll get a little bit more into this a little bit later in the chapter, they are hunted to extinction. Mostly what humans do to change the environment is destroy habitats. As populations grow, we need more room for our homes and roads and buildings and manufacturing companies. So habitat loss accounts for over 75% of current extinctions today. Again, as we start to get larger as a population, the habitats of other species shrink. In some cases, animals are forced to leave and try to find a new habitat. In some cases, what ends up happening is the wildlife does not leave and remains in the habitat, even though it has drastically changed due to the human presence. So there is this kind of war between humans and wildlife for kind of who owns what land. Hunting regulations are kind of commonplace now, but really there were no laws in the 1700s to the early 1900s about hunting anything. Once those laws were in place in developed countries like the United States and Europe and Canada, those extinction rates were lowered. However, in developing countries, different places in China and Africa and India, illegal hunting or poaching is still a threat. Those places are very difficult to police. For illegal hunting, there's often black market trade items from those animals from those different types of countries. Another threat to biodiversity Sometimes life can threaten other life as well. Exotic species are species that are not native to a particular region. Most exotic species were brought in by accident. They are kind of, in some cases, are hitchhikers, like the Eurasian milfoil, which is the plant that you see there on the left side of your screen. Eurasian milfoil is a very fast-growing aquatic plant. It can grow in just about any water condition, and it literally will choke out a freshwater lake or pond or stream because it overgrows. The native fish species and reptiles and amphibians do not feed on Eurasian milfoil, so there's no way for it to kind of be gotten rid of naturally, so it tends to overgrow in a lake. The zebra mussels that you see on the right side there, those were brought over accidentally from Europe. Zebra mussels are a bivalve. They basically overgrow, and they can grow on any type of surface. And they will also choke out the resources for the native species that live there. Sometimes exotic species are brought in on purpose to solve some sort of problem. The baobab tree that you see in the picture here, these were planted in the swamps of Florida to help drain the land for development. These baobab trees suck up water very quickly, and the only problem is they grow very fast as well, and they can overgrow. Now there's problems in the state of Florida and places in Louisiana and Mississippi where these have been planted to drain the water. They overgrow, and they cause other plant life to die. They also kill the other native trees in the area. So sometimes these exotics, when they're brought in to solve a problem, can actually end up causing more problems. It is important to protect the biodiversity that we have on the planet. Healthy ecosystems mean for a healthy biosphere. And really, if one species disappears from the ecosystem, we can get changes that occur, and those changes may not be good. We consider really, really important species in an ecosystem. We call those a keystone species. Keystone is the one part of a curved arch that kind of keeps the whole thing together. So just like the keystone helps keep the arch together, the keystone species help the functioning of a healthy ecosystem. There's also practical reasons why we want to protect biodiversity. There are many different types of plants that have possibly have medicinal purposes that could be made into drugs or medications. Different uses, of course, for food as well. And if those plant or animal species that are going to go extinct, if they are, then we won't be able to use them as a resource. Then, of course, there is the ethical spin on biodiversity. Most people, even if they're not super into science, agree that biodiversity should be preserved. We should try to protect the species that we have on the planet at present. Every organism has a right to exist, and every organism is valuable to Earth. This has been Environmental Science 2, Part 1 on Chapter 10, Part 1 on biodiversity.